So first of all, maybe we can turn this off. Yes. Welcome you all for tonight's session, and also I would like to express my greetings to every one of you. So we shall be actually continuing our discussion on the Heart Sutra, having discussion on. We shall be continuing our discussion on Heart Sutra, which we did last year. So it's going to be a kind of a continuation of the discussion or explanation of the Heart Sutra. Shantideva, in his guide to Bodhisattva's way of life, says, Dewa Döitang Timukpe Rangi Dewa Jadarcham. Even though we wish for happiness, our ignorance destroys happiness like we destroy enemy. Even though we have a wish to overcome suffering, unsatisfactoriness, but we run and chase after the causes of sufferings and unsatisfactoriness. As this verse says that we really wish from the in-depth of our heart, wish for happiness. There's always wish for happiness. Even in our dreams, we have wish for happiness. But when we investigate how we relate with happiness, how we relate with happiness, we get to see that we kind of chase our happiness by taking up the attitude of that, by taking up in other words, by letting ourselves run into the afflictive emotions of the ignorance, hatred, and attachment, and like that. Really, when we investigate, happiness is not really kind of rooted to external conditions, rather rooted to our internal attitude. And within our internal attitude, we get to see we are very much confused every now and then. And this confusion kind of lets us cling to ourselves. And with clinging, we are drawn to cultivating attachment and for oneself and for the things that we see as mine. And then when we see something is when we see that something is kind of put obstacle to me or my happiness, then we become angry, we become uptight, and we run into so many emotional distresses and difficulties and frustrations and like that. So really it's about controlling or taming our mind when it comes to real and long-lasting happiness which we wish for. So therefore, Shantideva says that we need to investigate how we are dealing with our emotion, especially we really give more kind of chance to the emotions of these afflictive emotions like that. So, if we really wish for overcoming uh, uh, unsatisfactoriness and wishing to have happiness, then really we need to look at our emotional attitude. That's really the core teaching of Shantideva, saying that. So then, within the emotional attitudes, emotional states, uh, the ignorance is the root cause of all the afflictive emotions arising out of the ignorance. So then, how? So we need to define what is really ignorance. Why we need to understand what is really ignorance. So ignorance is a confused state of mind where we a confused state of mind where we have the what is called as the self-grasping, grasping at self, and grasping at self beings, mistakenly seeing self as having inherent existence, self having independent existence. And it is due to mistakenly seeing that self having independent existence, we let self-cherishing attitude arise. And with self-cherishing attitude arising, then we experiences many different types of afflictive emotions. And with these different types of afflictive emotions, we really destroy our mental peace and tranquility. That's what Shantideva is saying in these lines. So if this is the case, then what we need to do is to really root out ignorance or self-grasping, because it is the root cause of all our troubles. So now the question comes, is it really possible for me or for us to root out ignorance or self-grasping? No matter how powerful or self-grasping or ignorance is, from our own experience, we can say that it is not rooted, it is not in the nature of our mind. When we look into our daily life, we are not always confused, right? We are not confused for 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. There are many times when our mind is, when our mind is clear, lucid, undefiled. When our mind is clear, lucid, undefiled, there's no chance for ignorance to creep in at that time. Ignorance is not there. On the other hand, when the ignorance overwhelms us, our mind becomes unclear, distracted, even to the point of kind of what you call illusion like that. So one thing that we can say is that our mind, at times when our mind is very clear, free from ignorance. But we do have times, when our mind is overwhelmed by ignorance or self-grasping. That means that mind is not, in other words, ignorance is not rooted or in the nature of, it's not in the nature of our mind. And if this is the case, we can separate ignorance from our mind. That is one thing very much stressed in Buddhist practice. So now, how we are going to separate ignorance from our mind stream? This is through gaining understanding of emptiness, gaining understanding of the ultimate reality of self and ultimate reality of other phenomena. And for this, we need to really study what is emptiness, what is the ultimate reality of self, what is the ultimate reality of phenomena. For this, as Lama Tsongkhapa mentions, that 니중 정주성은 검 제경 시베 싸워 쥐어버려 밀려배 기술 땡지 떠버 타be. In gaining understanding into the reality of ultimate reality of self and ultimate reality of the phenomena, we need to work on understanding the dependent origination. So now, what is dependent origination? So in explaining dependent origination, we need to have some kind of basic ideas of some Buddhist basic ideas of the different Buddhist philosophical systems. There are four major, Buddhist philosophical systems, and the two lower Buddhist philosophical systems explain the dependent origination in terms of law of cause and effect relationship. And the third, that is the mind-only school, explains the dependent origination in terms of that everything is mere mental. How should I say? Everything is the manifestation. Everything is the manifestation of mind. There's nothing externally existing. So very much is emphasized on the appearances and experience of one's mind. Very much is emphasized. So that is about the explanation of dependent origination from the viewpoint of mind-only school. And finally, the Madhyamika school. The Madhyamika school says that everything that we experience has no independent existence whatsoever. It's mere mental, it's mere mental level, or it's mere mental designation. So in a sense, for example, as we have been discussing about, the nature of self last year or since some years back, but when we search for self, for example, when we search for someone, say, who we hate, so someone who we call enemy, when we search for, we can say, oh, he's standing right out there. Okay, it is his stand, of course, he's standing right out there. But then when we investigate, where's this Where's this person who you call him or her as enemy? Whether the collection of his physical aggregates or mental aggregates are his enemy, or individual aggregates are this enemy, like that. We'll get to find out, we'll get to see that none of them is none of them is something to be pointed out as enemy. Am I making any sense, right? Something whereby we go search for kind of diluted, gets diluted. Same thing with ourselves too. If we do something wonderful, and if someone praises you, oh, I've done this something, and then we feel kind of proud or something things, and then when we search for where's this guy who did this wonderful, when we search for inside ourselves, we shall not be able to find. In kind of something to locate, just to locate. This is it, something we shall never be able to find. But on the other hand, we have this kind of attitude, wrong misconception attitude, as having concrete something solid, I within our mental and psycho or physical body, something. We have this kind of concrete notion of being I or me, like that. So from this perspective, it is said this is a wrong misconception, and this this draws in or brings forth all the the afflictive emotions, like that. So really, to actually understand the emptiness nature of self in relation with the dependent origination, we need to study the text. We need to study our text, and then we shall be able to, have deeper and more extensive understanding of these things. So, for the purpose of gaining understanding of the nature of emptiness and dependent origination, we have been using Heart Sutra as our text as our text. So from last year we have been using this text for studying emptiness nature of self and dependent origination. So how should I do? Continue. So I'll explain. We'll have a brief overview of this Heart Sutra up to where we have left last year. So the Heart Sutra is a teaching given by Buddha Shakyamuni. It's included within the what is called as the second turning wheel of the Dharma. Second turning wheel of the Dharma. The first turning wheel of the Dharma is about the Four Noble Truths, and in the second turning wheel of the Dharma, Buddha Shakyamuni extensively teaches on emptiness nature, and explicitly and implicitly he teaches the Bodhisattva's paths, Bodhisattva deeds. Implicitly Bodhisattva deeds. So in Tibetan version of translation of the second the compilation of the second turning wheel of the Dharma, we have what is called as extensive teachings on emptiness, with the like with 12 volumes of text, with 12 volumes of texts. And then middling teachings on the emptiness with 3 volumes of text. And then the short version of teachings on emptiness, we have 1 volume of text called Yet Tongba, which runs that 80,000 stanzas like that. And then the shortest form of teaching on emptiness is the Heart Sutra. And then the most shortest teaching form of emptiness is this emptiness is called letter A. The letter A. A. It's believed to be the most shortest form of teaching. And in A, we can explain from A or in A. This letter A, we can explain we can have the explanation of emptiness, because A, the word A actually in Sanskrit is a negative word. So it negates something. What it negates is inherent existence, true existence, intrinsic existence. Just negates these things. Just negate. That's why letter A, is again, it can be a text, text with the letter A. Right? Maybe only 1 page, pick 1 page like letter A. It's text like that. So the most extensive teaching on emptiness has 100,000 stanzas, and the middling one has Michi, that has 20,000 stanzas, and the short one, the Gyatongpa, has 8,000 stanzas. And then this Heart Sutra has 25 stanzas, 25 stanzas. And the shortest one, letter A, right, has no stanza, right? Only one. Only one word. It's only one word. Yeah. So this is the compilation of the version of what we have in Tibetan Buddhist literature. So now with Heart Sutra, as we discussed last time, this Heart Sutra is also recited as prayer in the monasteries, and it's a prayer for removing obstacles and difficulties in the monasteries. And if there is a prayer request from lay people, lay community, or monks for removing the obstacles, then this Heart Sutra is recited. And then also you will see that this Heart Sutra is recited when in the beginning of any kind of teaching, especially teaching by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. You see the recitation of Heart Sutra in order to remove the obstacles for the teaching and for the success of the teaching, like that. And then in the monasteries, the Heart Sutra is recited in the evening. In the evening prayer session, every day in the evening prayer session. So it's very, very popular, very popular in the Tibetan monastics and also in the Tibetan community. And also you will see this Heart Sutra in different languages, in Chinese language, in Japanese language, and then also in Korean language, Vietnamese language, like that. So these countries also, in these countries also, this Heart Sutra is kind of very much respected and very popular, very popular, very popular in these countries. So now, with regard to this Heart Sutra, another thing that we need to, it's good to know about is that in the opening, from the in the opening, you see that in Sanskrit, the word, you see in Sanskrit, Bhagavati Prajna Paramita Hridaya. So it's a Sanskrit word. So it's so just in order to authenticate, this word is you see this kind of phrase in because it's this all the teachings of majority of the Tibetan teachings are rooted to Sanskrit. That's why in order to authenticate, you will see that Jakarta, that means in other words, in Indian language or in Sanskrit language, the Bhagavati, so like this, that's now with this everyone has this Heart Sutra, right? Everyone has that. Then you see the thus I have heard, right? You see this thus I have heard. So here, this verse, the blessed one, up to the phenomena called the appearance of profound. It explains about the setting or the background of the teaching, in which the blessed one here, Buddha Shakyamuni, he is in meditative equipoise, meditating on single-pointedly the object, what is called as the appearance of profound, and then you see that the place where he is meditating is the Vulture's Peak. That's in northeastern India, the Vulture's Peak, and along with him is the community of monks and great the great community of the Buddha, great community of Bodhisattvas like that. The great community of Bodhisattvas like that. Then, while so the Buddha is seated in meditative equipoise, deeply concentrating on the appearance of a samanava. That means the object, what is called as the appearance of profound. And while he is in this kind of situation, the second personality we see is the Avalokiteshvara, that is generously Buddha's one of the main disciples, Bodhisattva. So he is also clearly beheld in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom, and so that even the five aggregates are empty of inherent existence. So our Avalokiteshvara is also again in deep meditation, and he is meditating on the emptiness nature of five aggregates. Emptiness nature of five aggregates. So now, in the third verse, you see, thereupon, through the Buddha's inspiration, another third personality, that is Shariputra, and through Buddha's inspiration, you see that Shariputra is Shariputra and the Avalokiteshvara that going to have a dialogue on the nature of emptiness. Going to have a dialogue on nature of emptiness. So here, what we see is that the Shariputra asking question, Avalokiteshvara, the great being, how should any noble son and daughter who wish to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom train, right? Perfection of wisdom train. How should oneself? How should noble son and daughter should engage in the training of understanding of the wisdom of emptiness. So this is the core and basic question that is being asked by Shariputra with the inspiration from the inspiration of the Buddha to Avalokiteshvara. So in this text, you see that dialogue kind of going between Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara. So since these are the words of Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra, how come they become the Buddha's words? How come they become the Buddha's words? This is one question you might ask, or you might think about. So with the Buddha's word, there is three types of Buddha's word. The Buddha's word spoken by Buddha himself. That is the actual Buddha's word. And then second is the second one is called as the Jesu Nawaka. That means Buddha, for example, after having had this dialogue after having seen dialogue between Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, in the later before the end of this text, you will see that Buddha is very much pleased with their dialogue, and then Buddha says that excellent, and whereby Buddha gives permission that this dialogue be included as Buddha's actual words, right? So there come, in this way, the dialogue between them also included as the Buddha's words or Buddha's teachings, Buddha's teaching. Then finally, the third category of Buddha's teaching is called as the Jingilabeka. Jingilaba means blessed. Blessed by, the words blessed by the Buddha. So there is a mythological mythology. There's a mythology saying that one time, a tree a tree was shaken with the wind. The tree was shaken with the wind, and through the blessing of the Buddha, whatever the words produced, whatever the noises produced with the shaking of the word, shaking of the tree, could be understood as teachings by those who were around that tree. So Then later on, it was asked to the Buddha what, they could understand the meaning. Some teaching, even with the blessing, even with the shaking of the trees. And then Buddha said, this is due to my blessing, due to my blessing. So blessing, blessing, in other words, the blessed words, like that. And there's one story also, that one deity, one deity with one white umbrella. There's one deity called white umbrella. So this deity, instead of giving teaching from his mouth, it is said that he gave teaching through his crown, through his crown. So with the blessing of the Buddha, with the blessing of the Buddha, like that. So that's why this, the dialogue between the Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra are here as included in the Buddha's teachings. So now we have the fourth verse. The fourth verse is that when this had been said, the holy Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, the great being, spoke to the venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any noble son and daughter who wish to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom should clearly see this way. They should see perfectly that even the aggregates are empty of intrinsic existence. So now Shariputra is being exhorted by the Avalokiteshvara that if you want to see, if you want to gain understanding of emptiness, then they should see perfectly that even the aggregates are empty of inherent existence. So even the aggregates should be seen. So the word even is here. The word even here means not only the self should be seen as lacking inherent existence, but also the five aggregates. In other words, whole mind body system, or in other words, person or phenomena should be seen as lacking true existence. So now, with this, Avalokiteshvara, he goes on explaining more and more, detailed and profound meanings of emptiness. So now here we see form is emptiness, and form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form too is not other than form. So now, form is emptiness means emptiness is a characteristic of form. Am I making any sense? Emptiness is a characteristic of form. In other words, form's nature is emptiness. Form's characteristic is emptiness. Form, say, for example, table. Table has many characteristics. Table being, impermanent. This table being square. This table being wooden. This table being light. This table being, expensive. Or this table being, very cheap. This table being, when we search, when we investigate characteristics of any phenomenon, anything, it has so many different types of characteristics. characteristics, right? Characters, qualities, in other qualities. So all these qualities are conventional qualities, except its emptiness nature is the ultimate quality. Am I making any sense? This we need to understand, all the characteristics are, at the conventional level, are relative, actually relative. For example, when we speak of this table being light, we are, speaking from the viewpoint of comparing with something else. Right? Am I making sense? Right? So this table being short, this table being high, this table being, black, this table being good, expensive, not. All these characteristics are, relative from the relative viewpoint. But then when it comes to the ultimate viewpoint, this table has no inherent existence. The ultimate characteristic of this table is lacking inherent existence. Right? So where we get confused is with the relativity, with the convention, with the convention reality. In other words, conventional reality. We are caught up in conventional reality, and whereby we label so many different ways, and whereby we react in so many different ways. Being good and bad, being, good and bad, being peaceful. It's all, whatever you name it. We name it and we react to it. Our reactions could be of, negative, could be positive. With the negative reactions, we again, have a chain of another reaction of more negative. With a positive, we have positive reactions like that, right? So until and unless we reach to a in-depth understanding of the phenomena's ultimate reality, that is, phenomena being empty of inherent existence. So form is emptiness. And then emptiness is form. Then we might have some kind of understanding, understanding. If the form is emptiness, how about emptiness itself? Maybe emptiness is emptiness absolute? No, again, emptiness itself is not absolute. Am I making any sense? Emptiness itself is again not absolute. So form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. And then emptiness is not other than form, right? There's no form. In other words, emptiness is not other than form. There's, we cannot find emptiness without using a base. Because emptiness itself is a quality, is a characteristic. And form too is not other than emptiness. Form too is not other than emptiness means that within emptiness, everything arises. There's nothing that does not arise from emptiness. So emptiness sometimes can be explained as openness, kind of a spaciousness. From within emptiness, everything can arise. from within emptiness, there's the play of dependent arising. From within emptiness, there's the play of, all kinds of activities. There's the play, what we call as spots. The spots, play, the interplay of interrelatedness, the interplay of interconnectedness, the interplay of, intercommunication, everything that stems out is from within the state of emptiness, So that is why in Tantra, when we meditate a deity, we do not meditate deity. We don't, it's totally wrong to meditate a deity without, in other words, it's not going to have any benefit unless you, for example, if it's with a self-generation, or if it's a generation, it's a meditation on a, say, Tara in front of you, we meditate on some kind of emptiness nature, and within the state of emptiness nature, we arise deity, we arise Tara deity. With ourselves, for example, when we meditate on Vajrasattva, when we do the self-generation of Vajrasattva, what we need to dilute. In other words, we need to peel off. We need to peel off, like peeling off onions, onion skin. We need to peel off. What we are going to peel off is peeling off this concreteness, peeling off independent existence. We peel off. Eventually, we reach to understanding of emptiness. And that emptiness, within that state of emptiness, we generate I in the form of, we generate ourselves, me or I in the form of deity, in the form of deity. And my goodness, this is a very crucial practice in Buddhism, unless you have some kind of understanding that, recitation of Vajrasattva and doing, meditation does not work very much, does not work. So has to clear away from, in other words, clearing away of all these concreteness, destroying the concreteness, and then within the state of emptiness. So that's why we have Chetamja Rashingi Trube Tongba Nido Gyur means Om Subhawa Shuddha Sarvadama Subhawa Shuddha So all the phenomena are emptiness, empty with emptiness nature. So within the state of emptiness nature, I arise as, so this, who arises into a deity, this not ordinary, self-clinging person. Rather, it's a rather having peeled off this clinginess, we arise in ourselves the deity, the deity of Tara or Vajrasattva or whatever like that. Am I making any sense? This is very, we need to understand this practice very well. So that's why, form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form too is not other than emptiness. Likewise, so in this way, likewise, Shiriput, Avalokiteshvara continues to saying that likewise, feeling, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness all are empty like that. So, in explaining this verse from form is emptiness to form too is not other than emptiness. The 19th century Indian master called Chumifang, he says that the word form is emptiness. The form is emptiness. Helps to overcome what is called as atta, that is the overcome the extreme of permanence. And emptiness is form helps us overcome extreme of nihilism. And emptiness is not other than form, helps us to understand that nang tong means appearance and emptiness are not dichotomy. Rather, they are in unity. Appearance and emptiness are in unity. And then the form is not other than emptiness, shows unity in appearance. With the unity, with the unity of emptiness and appearance, with the unity of emptiness and appearance, there is the what we call less we tell, that there's the possibility of actions, subjects, actions and objects, possibility of existence of actions and doers and objects and subjects and like that. So there's a very profound explanation. And in the subject tradition, they say like this. The form is emptiness explains that nama tongba means appearance is empty. Nama tongba, appearance is empty. Interesting, right? Appearance is used when we say there is appearing something, then we say it's not empty, appearing is something. But here Sakya lineage says that with the form is empty, means appearance is empty. Means appearance is empty in the sense that appearance is due to certain cause and conditions. So appearance does not have how should I say? Independent existence. Does not have independent existence. Being able to see appearance, appear itself is due to cause and conditions. So appearance does not have independent existence, which means appearance is empty of inherent existence. Am I making any sense? Usually when we say this is there, for example, if you see a person, say, is he there? We say he is there. And if he is there, usually in our mind, we'll have, so he's not being there, it's not possible. Right? Making more complicated, I'm not sure. Not being there and being there, being there, not being there, right? So not being there is not possible because he is there, right? Right? Usually like that. So now, in terms of like Sakya lineage explaining Nama Tongpa, appearance being there, when we say appearance being there is empty. Oh, maybe gone crazy, right? Gone crazy. Appearance there, and again you are saying empty. It's gone crazy. But it's not like that. Appearance there, being empty means empty of inherent existence. That being able to appear, it's due to, arisal, due to meeting with cause and conditions. Like that. So, well, not only that, appearance sometimes is there, sometimes it's not there. That again means, if it's not related with the cause and conditions, if it's not related with cause and condition, it should be there permanently, or it shouldn't be there at all. But that's not like that, right? Appearance. So Sakya lineage, explanation of appearance being empty. Appearance is emptiness. Is very, very profound explanation of emptiness. Yes?
Appearance is empty because it's impermanent.
Yeah, you can say also this, you can also say this. Yeah. But more of something, appearance arising in dependence on cause and condition, something not arising from its own side, not arising from its own right, not own right. Usually we have, for example, when we watch a movie, okay, and in the movie, if the character in the movie, sometimes if it's the episode, if the episode is drastic or something that it's violent, something it's right out there, right? We forget that it's being projected from we forget that it is being projected from the projector. That's why we cry, right? That's why we sometimes something like that, right? Why? Because we think that it is there. It's not something that is the projection from the projector. Same thing with our experiences in our life. That's why Mind Only School says it's a mental projection. Just think, let us must understand is more of a mental projection than of the objectively existing. Right. Then, second, with regard to emptiness is form. Sakya lineages explain that this resonates the meaning of Tongpa Tenjung. Tongpa Tenjung means again another interesting, very, very interesting explanation. Tongpa Tenjung means emptiness. Emptiness being dependent, related, dependent origination. In other words, empty of dependent origination. Emptiness being dependent origination. Am I making any sense? No. Emptiness, dependent origination. If a thing is empty, for example, if it's empty, there's not the possibility of, activity because it's empty, or not the possibility of dependent origination because it's empty. But Sakya lineage says that because of being empty, because of being emptiness, it has opened. In other words, it has created the spaciousness. That's what I've been just before saying. Within that emptiness, everything can arise. Everything can be performed. Another very, very interesting and profound explanation with relation to emptiness. Very, very emptiness. So in our general notion, if we say this is empty, then nothingness is almost like nothingness. Within nothingness, nothing can happen. Right? But the Sakya lineage says that, no, don't think in this way. When we think, instead, we should think that emptiness being kind of spaciousness, like a space is empty. In space, we can do so many things, right, in space because of its being spaciousness. If the space is blocked, if the space is blocked, for example, if this room is blocked, there will be no space in it, and so there will be no play in it. We shall not be in a position to sit in this way. There's no way because the room is blocked, right? Whereas because of this space, empty space, there's the play. There's the play of you listening me and I'm talking to you. There's the play, right? So from the Sakya lineage, it says that this is how emptiness works. Because of being emptiness, the play of anything, the play of positive things, the play of negative things, the play of neutral things happen. Am I making any sense? Very interesting comments on these points. Then with the third, like emptiness is not other than form, means tongba seltong sungjuk. That is almost like Jumihong's explanation. Seltong sungjuk means the unity of emptiness and appearance. The unity of emptiness or the unity of emptiness and appearance. That's the unity actually. In reality, there's the unity of emptiness and appearance. And then finally, the form too is not other than emptiness. The Sakya lineage resonates to the meaning that sumjuk jetal means the unity is inexpressible. Right? Eventually, when it comes to the ultimate, when it comes to the understanding of emptiness nature, especially at the level of direct perception, it becomes inexpressible. It becomes inexpressible to others. Only you can experience it, not being able to express to the experience what you have. Of course, you can express to some extent, but not to the fullest level of appreciation what you have with emptiness. So that is why Sakya lineage again resonates, saying this, sumjuk jetal. Sumjuk jetal. Jetal means inexpressible. Eventually, it becomes many, many things in our life are inexpressible. Many, 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 many things. Because the thought, whatever we have about in relating to expression is very limited compared to the thought what we have. Am I making any sense, right? That's why, although, that's why it says that in the Buddhist psychology, it says that the expression follows the thought, not the thought follows the expression. Am I making sense? Expression follows the thought. Thought does not follow the expression, because with the thought, expression arises. Again, with that expression, again, another new thought is generated, and that thought has to be again expressed. So whatever you are expressing, whatever you have thought, there's limit. When you write something about what you're thinking, you were limited what you have thought. Am I making any sense? That's very interesting again to note, it's note. very interesting to note. Thought is the conceptual thought, especially the conceptual thought. So you cannot draw, for example, for example, if you, how should I say, if you have a picture of someone who you have in your mind, this picture cannot be drawn exactly, completely, the way you have it in your imagination. There's always some kind of, what you call commission or omission, some kind of lacking or exaggeration like that. Because thought cannot be expressed to its fullest extent without any, commission or omission like that. So, in the same way, when it comes to the deepest level of understanding of emptiness, it becomes inexpressible. It becomes inexpressible. Of course, you experience it. You have the joy. You experience this joy. But then again, when you're asked to explain this joy, again, you say, I'm very joyful. I'm very joyful. But then if someone asks you, please explain me this joy, you will just say, I'm very joyful, other than what you can say, but there's really nothing much to say. So that is why sumjuk chetal means beyond expression. So in this way, then Avalokiteshvara goes on saying, continues to say, likewise, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, consciousness, all are, empty. All are empty. So up to, from giving explanation that form is empty to, or consciousness are all empty, explains about what is called as if we relate with the five levels of the path, which we have been discussing last time, comes with the practice of what is called as the sogjor, the path of accumulation and the path of preparation. Because how it works is that first it becomes intellectual. First, of course, it is just listening. Then there's the intellectual formation of the intellectual understanding of emptiness. Then eventually, this intellectual understanding of emptiness becomes what is called as the unity of calm, abiding, and special insight. The unity of calm, abiding, and special insight in understanding emptiness nature. In other words, as our emptiness nature deepens, the generic image that is related with emptiness becomes, weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. The more it becomes weaker, the direct perception, the more direct perception we will have with emptiness nature. So this is up to the level of explanation of the sogjor, that is the path of accumulation and the path of preparation. Then the verse, right? Everyone has this verse, right? Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are emptiness. They are without defining characteristics. They are not born. They do not cease. They are not defiled. They are not undefiled. They are not deficient. They are not complete. So here now comes the explanation of the experience of a person who is on the path of seeing, path of seeing. From the path of accumulation to the path of preparation. Then he enters into what is called as the path of seeing. So in the path of seeing, it is said that the person sees emptiness in a kind of a naked form. Am I making any sense? In a kind of direct, like seeing, with our eyes, something, like seeing with our own eyes, like seeing this table with our own eyes. There's no obscuration in between, right? There's no obscuration in between. There's nothing that is blocking between my eye and the table. There's nothing blocking, right? So I'm seeing this table, what we say is that naked, without any obscuration or without any nothing is covered, nothing is covered nakedly. So at the level of the path of seeing, the practitioner is able to see emptiness directly. So therefore, he here mentions that without defining characters, means that he has reached to this kind of experience that he just sees the emptiness and nothing else. No phenomena whatsoever, just emptiness. It is said that on the training path, either we see, there's two truths, right? Conventional truth and ultimate truth. It is said that on the level of the path, in other words, when we are on the training period, either we see the conventional truth, or in terms of when we see directly, either we see conventional truth directly, or we see ultimate truth directly. We cannot see them together directly. Am I making any sense? We cannot see them simultaneously directly. So at the Buddhas, but when we reaches to the enlightened state, it is said that we can see ultimate truth as well as conventional truth directly, spontaneously. So kind of difficult to understand, right? Difficult to understand. But how to explain this? I don't know. Once again, so with let's say with impermanence. So with impermanence, we can see, we are talking about with the direct perception, not at the inferential level, not at the inferential level, not at the inferential level. When I see this table broken, I see the table as well as being broken with direct perception. I see changes going on with this table. At the same time, I see, I'm talking about mentally, not with eyes, mentally, mentally, I see changes going on through eyes, then mentally, you see changes going on with this table, right? But with emptiness nature, it is said that either you see emptiness nature of table, or you shall be able to see the table only at the direct perception level. You cannot see two things simultaneously. I don't know how to explain myself. But we have to experience this. We have to experience this, really. So for this, we have to reach to the level of the path of seeing. Right? For this, we have to, have at least intellectual understanding of emptiness first. And then bring it to more of our experiential level. And then eventually transform that experiential level into direct cognitive level, where, we reach to the state of, the path of seeing. So that is why it is said that a person on the path of seeing, when he is in meditative equipoise, he just sees emptiness. He sees nothing. Mentally, I'm speaking, mentally. He sees nothing, just emptiness. Just emptiness. And what would be his experience going to be like? I don't know. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. This has the resonation of, actually, when we go through stages of dissolution. Actually, when we pass, stages of dissolution. Because when we pass through the stages of dissolution at the time of death, the earth dissolves into water. Water dissolves into earth element, dissolves into water element. Water element dissolves into fire element. Fire element dissolves into wind element. And the wind element again dissolves into, subtle consciousness. And that subtle, again, consciousness dissolves into, in terms of, 3 stages, like the white appearance, the red appearance, the black near attainment. Eventually, at the time of black near attainment, at the time of black near attainment, it's kind of total blank, almost like coma, total blank. And from that blank state, the more it's explained like that, the more, for example, if you go underground, in the basement, the more you stay longer there, if it's dark, total dark, the more you stay longer there, and when you come out, the light, the pitch of the light, pitch or strength of the light is stronger. Because of yours, the more you have stayed longer. Or you just stay a few minutes, just come out, you will not notice this, the change in, you will not experience this. If you stay long, then the longer you see the pitch of the strength of the light, stronger and stronger. So that is how the mind of clear light arises from the blankness. So in that mind of clear light, it's said that it's just emptiness. It's just emptiness. Nothing appears to it. Nothing appears to it. We can also have some kind of glimpse of like this kind of level of emptiness, doing such kind of experience, doing such kind of experience. Yeah, we'll stop here today. Interesting, right? Emptiness is That's why it is debated, it is talked, and it's a so difficult topic, right? So Nagarjuna wrote, so many treatises on Lama Tsongkhapa wrote so many treatises and the commentaries to commentaries. Still, we don't understand this. Very tough subject, I think. Very well. With impermanence, we can relate more easier when it's about impermanence. So when it is about, even when we talk about, say, something about dependent, we can relate. Oh, it's dependent. We can see. Then we go further about impermanent, about emptiness. Then it becomes kind of more difficult. That's why, the Dharmakirti, he says that, that's why we have to lead first with understanding of impermanence. Then about the suffering of or the unsatisfactory nature of the samsara. Then helps us lead to the understanding of dhamma, selflessness nature. So it's being a tough topic, right? The Dharmakirti has mentioned, like some centuries back, that difficult to lead right away into emptiness nature, right?
Then, if you generate yourself as deity out of emptiness, is it strictly out of intellectual understanding of emptiness? Does the person on the path of seeing who can see emptiness directly not need to generate the deity out of emptiness?
The person who, for us, it's almost like it's really very much like in the beginning, kind of intellectual. But then, as we go on practicing, it becomes experiencing. It comes to an experiential level. Really, we can feel that it's arisen from within the state of emptiness.
But the state of emptiness that you start out with, is that an intellectual understanding? Is someone who can see emptiness directly?
No. For them, emptiness, experience of emptiness is spontaneous. From that, their own, within that experience, they can arise themselves. For us, we have to think. Especially sometimes we have to use some logical reasonings prove this is emptiness. And then, based on these such logical reasonings, then we think, things are dependent, therefore must be empty. And I must think everything is empty. And then, having thought this way, within that state of emptiness, I generate, myself as a deity like that. It's very, very fabricated one, kind of a fabrication, very, very artificial one. But that is the only way of, doing in the tantric practice. Even if it is artificial, we have to work on with artificial practice. Then and eventually it becomes spontaneous one. Emptiness is very, very tough subject. Really. Yes.
The word emptiness, and sometimes I think that it's difficult for Westerners to understand emptiness because of the choice of words. And I'm wondering, what is the Sanskrit and the Tibetan word?
Mm-hmm.
And does that literally translate into emptiness, or would there be a better word to translate than emptiness?
In Tibet, in Sanskrit, shunyata, and in Tibetan, tongpa ni. So there's two words, tongpa and ni. So tongpa actually means empty. Tongpa means just empty. So ni, the word ni makes tongpa word. Excuse me. Ni, the word ni makes tongpa very significant. Significant in the sense that it is not just empty. It is not just empty. Am I making sense? It's not just empty, but it's not empty too. It is not empty, nor it is not just empty. not empty, nor not just empty. Tongba ni, the word is actually that's why in Tibetan ni, the word ni is when it's attached to tongba, it's a very powerful word. That's why emptiness, it doesn't carry very much meaning. It doesn't carry much powerful meaning, So almost like sometimes it's translated as suchness, as you see it, suchness. And in Tibetan, there are many synonyms, right? Synonyms for emptiness, like Rangshingi Matuba means no natural existence. Rangana Matuba, no inherent existence. Temper Matuba, no true existence. Moniki Matuba, not existing from its own side. And like this, there's many synonymous, words, which each one of these words has some unique meaning to explaining emptiness nature. So, for example, Rangma ne Matuba means Rang means own sight. Rang means own. Ne means from its own sight, not existing from its own sight. Rangana Matuba. Tembar Matuba means having no true existence. Mo Niji Matuba. Mo means aspect or nature. Having no existence from its own nature, like that. So it has many different meanings, right? Okay. Yeah, your question.
I do.
Yes.
I was just curious to know about this being who has attained the path of seeing. Is this a bodhisattva? So he's already generated bodhicitta, or is it possible that it's not a bodhisattva, but it's just, I don't know, what would you be if you're not a bodhisattva and you're on the path of seeing? An Arya?
Arya, but not necessary to be a bodhisattva. No, not necessary to be a bodhisattva. So emptiness can be seen directly by Sharvaka, Aryas, or in Hinayana tradition, like even within the Hinayana tradition, there's emptiness. Yeah, like that. So again, you are right. Again, there's a debate, whether. So from the Hinayana viewpoint, they say that it is not necessary to realize emptiness in order to achieve Arya. In order to achieve Arya means the path of seeing. Whereas the Mahayana school of thought says that it is necessary to have, to see emptiness directly to reach to the level of path of seeing. So there's a debate again. There's a debate. So very much that you will see in the you will see in the Shantideva's chapter, 9th chapter on the chapter on wisdom. There's long debate, very extensive debate between, Theravada tradition and the Mahayana tradition. Because Theravada tradition do not accept emptiness. Emptiness. They accept just the selflessness. Again, selflessness of person and phenomena. But selflessness is a kind of a lesser explanation of emptiness. Selflessness is a kind of a lesser explanation. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.